Yeah, not a problem. You know, your great leg, you might feel snappy later. You sure? Go in.
How do you want to do it? You want to jump?
I want to your hand on my shoes.
Of course.
Thank you. Alright.
Okay, just for the start. Okay, hold here now. Perfect. You can jump, right? Okay.
Yeah, it was really nice. Yeah. Which company was it?
Like the
East?
East Cruise.
That's the choice was Java Tours.
Java. Yeah, right when it was yeah, it was really nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So it's company class. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Are we going to Tatawa?
So guys, the next dive site we will do is situated in Police Corner. So basically Police Corner is still the same island that we were diving before, Siaba Besar, but we are on the very southern tip at the moment. Okay? So it's named like this because some time ago a police boat sunk here. So it's not a wreck dive, it's just like they recovered the boat already, but that's the story. So this is how it looks like. At the very end of this island we have a shallow top reef that's around 5 meters from the surface, not very wide, maybe 10-15 meters wide, and then we have a sloping reef around 45 degrees angle, and the more you go to the south tip, the more it becomes a wall. Okay? In this sloping reef we have a big area that is a big overhang. Maybe some time ago it was a sloping reef and then it collapsed, created an overhang. So in the bottom of the overhang we have all these big boulders, big rocks here and there. So the top of this overhang is around 13 meters, and inside, if you go inside and you get to the bottom, you'll be around 25 meters. However, still the open water divers can go in this first overhang. It's a lot of things to see in here. After this overhang, as you go more to the south, it becomes a wall, and then we have another overhang around 28 meters, and then after this one we have another overhang around 30 meters. That's the depth of the overhang, which means that if you go underneath, you're slightly deeper. Okay? And on the top of these is always the sloping reef. The more south you go, the more it becomes a wall. It's quite a deep dive site here, and it's completely open to the blue. So at the moment the current is a slack tide, just the start of rising tide. Okay? When it's falling tide, it's going this way. When it's rising tide, it goes this way. So it's basically just the moment where the current change from falling tide to rising tide. So this is actually a good moment to dive this dive site. However, we do not want to wait until it picks up too much on the rising tide, because otherwise we'll not be able to visit everything of the overhangs. But we'll be able to visit all the sloping reef that goes next to it here. So the plan of the dive basically is to jump a little bit over this overhang here, a little bit more to the south as the current is slightly going this way already, to go down inside the first overhang, and the plan is to go to the deepest point first. So for the advanced divers, as you get to the first overhang, you will not spend too much time in there, you just go passing through. Going through here, along the wall here, underneath the first overhang, the second overhang, underneath the third overhang, and then make your way back towards the shallower areas until you get out of the overhang on the sloping reef. Okay? Of course, this plan will depend on the current down there. The plan is to go down there, but as we reach the first one, we will check the current if it's possible to go to the second one, and then from there check the current if it's possible to go to the third one. Okay? What I like to do is go through the first one, underneath the second one, underneath the third one, over the third one, back underneath the second one, along the wall, spend some time in the big one here, and then after this you will come back from this overhang. Has kind of a crack at the highest point. What's nice to do is to come out from this crack and go over the overhang here on the sloping reef. Why is that? Is because all the time that you spend breathing underneath this overhang here all the air, all the bubbles are accumulating in the top, and actually they go through the edge, the ceiling of the overhang. So when you go over here, it's like a lot of bubbles coming out of the ground. It's really nice. It's like raining bubbles but upside down. So it's a pretty cool thing to go through, spending some time here and then up, going over with the current, ending up the dive on the sloping reef, starting by this rainy bubble upside down, and making our way shallower, 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 around 10 meters, drifting slowly, slowly all along this sloping reef, which is beautiful. All the sloping reef has really nice coral, hard and soft corals, very rich, very diverse, so quite healthy. Just beware, there is this coral that looks like an alga. It's called a hydroid. These things sting, and we have quite a little bit of them. So if you stay close to the bottom, be careful where you put your hands and things like that, because if it stings you, it might hurt on the moment, then you think it's fine, but then in the next days it will become blisters and it's very uncomfortable. Scratching, itching, all that. Okay, so this is for the plan of the dive. Any questions about the plan?
working on the Maldives for?
Maldives? 7 months. Yeah. And then it's like, you know, for good diving, good, but to live there on a small island, there is no life. I mean, yeah, you just work and then that's it. And continue to eat all and two people,
Alright. So Tatawa comes from the name Ketawa, which means big laugh or big smile. So this is like the small smile, but it's still a beautiful dive, don't worry. This is more or less how it looks like. So we have the small island. This is the western side, which is the one that is next to us. We have on the northern and the southern side a plateau that extends a little bit. It's around 5 to 10 meters. It goes a bit out in the north and the south. On the west side we have a kind of a very small plateau. It's almost no plateau. That's around 5 meters. Then it drops down on a sloping reef. This sloping reef is composed of many big boulders here and there. It's really interesting topography. These big boulders go down to around 20 meters and then 25 and even 30, and they land on a general big slope that isn't a very gentle slope, but yeah, still a slope going this way. So after these big boulders, if you go a bit more to the south, it's just a sloping reef, and then the plateau around here is really nice, and this plateau here is probably my favorite part of the dive. In the middle of this boulders, we have around 15 meters swim through. It's actually more like an overhang, but halfway the overhang it's a bit closed, so you come from one end and you go out from the other one, so that we can consider it like a swim through. So the current at the moment is the end of falling tide, start to rise, pretty much the same conditions that we had on the last dive. Basically the current is ending falling and will start to rise. Okay? So the plan of the dive is to start on the northern side right here, not too far out, because if the current has already changed, we don't want to be too much out, otherwise we have to kick a bit against the current. And the plan is to go along reef on the left side, going, exploring until we reach this overhang. When we reach this overhang, if the current is not too much rising already, we can continue a little bit away here to then come back a bit shallower and end the dive on this northern plateau. Okay? So when we do that, if the current is a little bit rising already, we need to play with these boulders to make our way to the overhang. Okay, so if you see a big rock in front of you, what you want to do is to try to hide from the current behind it. And then once you reach there, you see another rock, you're gonna pass the corner and hide behind that rock to go further and further and further. Okay? This is the best way to navigate the dive site. If the current is still slightly falling, it will be very easy to go here. However, know that if we go here it's still falling and your guide is taking a little bit of, he's not going very slow basically, make sure that you follow him, because that might mean that the current is changing and it's for you not to be too much against the current. So he might want to go a little bit faster on the way in and take your time as you come back, so that you don't go too much against the current. Okay? So otherwise it's possible to take our time as we go there, but then we have to play with these boulders here and there to make our way here to this overhang. There are some other overhangs a little bit deeper here, around 25 meters. Sometimes what we will do is that we will go reef on the left, staying a bit deeper, going underneath these overhangs, and then coming back, going through this overhang here and making our way to the north. Or, depending on your air consumption and your knots of limits, you might not be able to go here. But it doesn't matter, all the rest of the dive site is beautiful. Especially when we're going to do the safety stop in this northern area here. We have this plateau to actually explore a little bit, doing a zigzag and circle up this area. We have a lot of fusiliers, very nice coral plateau, big table corals, soft corals as well. Lots of marine life. So it's a really cool place to do the safety stuff. Alright guys, do you have any questions about the plan?
No.
Okay.
Go, yeah?
Well, I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Phil. Thank you for today.
Welcome.